The red emergency lights flashed across the medical bay as Olivia Summers worked quickly to patch up the wounded soldier on her table. Sweat dripped from her forehead as the Mars outpost shook from another direct hit. "Stay with me, Martinez," she said, pressing a healing pad against the gaping wound in his chest. The man's eyes fluttered as the medicine took effect, slowing the bleeding. "Doc, they're coming. Too many," he mumbled before passing out. Olivia checked his vitals. Stable, for now. She had saved her 12th patient today, but from the sounds of the battle outside, there wouldn't be many more survivors to treat. The Cracks' invasion had come without warning, their massive ships darkening the Martian sky before unleashing destruction on the outpost. As she washed blood from her hands, the doors to the medical bay burst open. 2 soldiers staggered in, carrying a third between them. "Doc Summers, we need help here," one shouted. Olivia rushed to them, helping lower the wounded woman onto an empty bed. But before she could reach for her medical scanner, a deafening explosion rocked the entire building. The walls cracked and part of the ceiling came crashing down. When Olivia regained consciousness, the first thing she noticed was the smoke, thick, black, and choking. She pulled herself up, coughing harshly. The medical bay was in ruins. Most of the equipment was destroyed, and worse, she couldn't see any of her patients or the soldiers who had just arrived. "Hello? Anyone here?" she called out, her voice raspy from the smoke. No answer came. Grabbing what medical supplies she could salvage, Olivia made her way toward the exit. She had to find survivors. That was her job. That was her cover. The hallway outside was worse. Bodies of Earth Defense Force soldiers lay scattered, their weapons still clutched in lifeless hands. Olivia checked each one, looking for signs of life, finding none. The Cracks were thorough in their attack. As she turned a corner, she came face to face with them for the first time. 3 Crack soldiers, each standing over 8 feet tall, their gray-green scales gleaming under the emergency lights. Their black eyes showed no emotion as they raised their weapons. "Halt, human," the middle one hissed in broken English. Olivia raised her hands, dropping her medical bag. "I'm a medic. I'm unarmed." The Crack soldiers looked at each other, communicating in their clicking language before the leader nodded. "Take this one alive," he ordered. "Commander Zevthrak wants prisoners for questioning." A hard blow to the back of her head sent Olivia falling to her knees. As darkness closed in, a small part of her mind, the part that wasn't the simple medic she pretended to be, thought Phase 1 complete. The holding cell on the Cracks battlecruiser Void Talon smelled of fear and despair. 30 humans crowded the space meant for half that number. Most wore the uniforms of Earth Defense Force soldiers, though some were technicians or support staff. All looked defeated. Olivia sat against the wall, eyes closed but mind alert, counting the seconds between guard patrols, exactly 317 seconds each time. She had been documenting everything since regaining consciousness. 6 guard rotations, 18 crew members seen, 4 different security checkpoints passed. "Hey, you're the medic, right?" Olivia opened her eyes to see a young man with dirty, blonde hair and a cut above his left eye crouching next to her. "Yes." "Let me look at that cut," she said, reaching toward his face. "I'm Peter Collins, communications officer," he said as she examined his wound. "I've been here 3 weeks already. They grabbed me during the initial attack on Phobos Station." "Olivia Summers," she replied, tearing a strip from her sleeve to dab at his cut. "What have you learned while here?" Peter looked around nervously before leaning closer. "They're taking us to some processing station called Nexus. I've overheard the guards talking. It's bad news. They sort prisoners there, decide who gets sent to labor camps and who gets other assignments." "What kind of other assignments?" Olivia asked, though she already knew the answer from her mission briefing. "There's something they call the Wolf Cell. The guards laugh about it. No one who goes there comes back." His voice dropped even lower. "It's where they send troublemakers or people they want to make examples of." Olivia nodded, her expression carefully showing just the right amount of fear. "How much longer until we reach this Nexus station?" "Less than a day from what I can tell. Listen, stick close to me when we arrive. I've made some connections." I might be able to get us assigned to technical work instead of the mines." "Thank you, Peter," she said, genuine gratitude in her voice. His kindness was real even if her identity wasn't. The door to the holding cell slid open with a hiss. 4 Cracks guards entered, their tails swishing behind them as they surveyed the prisoners with contempt. "All humans, line up," the lead guard barked. As they shuffled into formation, Olivia noticed one of the guards pointing at her. "That one, the female with red hair. Commander wants to see her." Peter shot her a worried glance as 2 guards grabbed her arms and pulled her from the line. They marched her through the twisting corridors of the ship, each turn carefully memorized by Olivia despite her outward appearance of fear. They arrived at the command deck, a vast chamber filled with blinking lights and hissing machinery. At its center stood Commander Zevthrak, his scales darker than those of regular crack soldiers, marked with the red stripes of his high rank. "This is the medic?" he asked, his voice deeper and more menacing than the other cracks. "Yes, Commander," replied one of the guards. Zevthrak circled Olivia slowly, studying her. His forked tongue flicked out occasionally, tasting the air around her. "Your name and rank, human," he demanded. "Olivia Summers, civilian medic attached to Mars Outpost 7, she replied, her voice trembling just enough. The commander leaned down, his face inches from hers, black eyes reflecting her own image back at her. "And what useful information might a simple medic have for the glorious Cracks Empire?" "I just treat the wounded. I don't know anything about military matters," she said. Zevthrak laughed, a sound like rocks being crushed. "All humans claim ignorance when captured, yet all humans gossip and listen where they shouldn't." He straightened up. "No matter. We have reached Nexus Station. You will tell us everything you know eventually." Through the massive viewport, Olivia could see their destination. Nexus Station hung in space like a giant metal star, its 5-pointed arms bristling with weapons and docking bays. As the Void Talon approached, smaller ships scurried around it like insects. "Take her back to the others," Zevthrak ordered. "I have something special planned for this one when we dock." As the guards led her away, Olivia caught a glimpse of a data terminal showing ship movements. The screen displayed exactly what she had been sent to confirm: the coordinates for the Cracks invasion fleet gathering at the edge of the solar system. Deep inside her, beneath the carefully constructed identity of Olivia Summers, medic, the real Olivia, Agent Alpha 117 of Earth's most secret special operations program, felt a small surge of satisfaction. The first part of her mission was complete. Soon, she would enter the wolf cell, and then the real work would begin. Nexus Station was even more imposing from the inside. The Cracks marched their human prisoners through wide corridors with ceilings that stretched 30 feet high, designed to accommodate the various alien species that served the Empire. Olivia walked with the other prisoners, her eyes constantly moving, taking in every detail. The processing area was a vast chamber with separate lines for different species. Humans were directed to the shortest line, which Olivia noted wasn't a good sign. Either humans were a rarity here or they didn't survive long enough to build up numbers. "Keep your head down," Peter whispered as they shuffled forward. "The ones with the yellow armbands are talent scouts for the labor camps. They pick the strongest for the mining operations on Cracks Prime." "And the others?" Olivia asked quietly. Peter's face darkened. "The ones with red markings are worse. They select specimens for biological research or the arena games, or the wolf cell." As they reached the front of the line, a Cracks official with gray markings scanned each prisoner with a handheld device, occasionally making notes on a tablet. When he reached Olivia, the scanner made an unusual sound. "This one has medical training," the official announced, looking at his scanner with surprise. Unusual skills for a Terran. A taller Cracks with yellow armbands stepped forward, examining Olivia with interest. "We need medics in the eastern mining sector. The mortality rate is becoming problematic." "Her fate has already been decided," came a familiar voice. Commander Zevthrak approached, his tail swishing behind him with authority. The other Cracks immediately lowered their heads in deference. This one attempted to hide valuable military information during preliminary questioning. He lied smoothly. The wolf cell will serve as an example to the others. The yellow-banded cracks hesitated. Commander, with respect, it seems wasteful to— Are you questioning my judgment? Zev Thrak hissed, his scales darkening with anger. No, Commander. The other alien quickly backed down. Zev Thrak pointed at Olivia. Take this one to Preparation Chamber 3. I will oversee the placement personally. As two guards grabbed her arms, Peter stepped forward. No, she's just a medic. Take me instead. For his bravery, Peter received a swift blow that sent him crashing to the floor. Olivia struggled against her captors, playing the part of the terrified medic perfectly. Peter! She cried out as they dragged her away. The last thing she saw before the doors closed was the yellow-banded cracks helping Peter to his feet, marking him for the mining colony. At least he might survive this, she thought. Not many would. Preparation Chamber 3 was a sterile room where a different type of cracks waited. This one was smaller, with paler scales and large eyes. A scientist, Olivia guessed. Remove your outer garments, the scientist ordered in a softer voice than the military cracks. When Olivia hesitated, the guard stepped forward threateningly. She slowly removed her tattered medic jacket and pants, left standing in her standard issue underclothes. The scientist approached with a different scanner, more advanced than the one used during processing. I need to check for concealed weapons or communication devices. The scanner passed over her body slowly. Olivia remained calm, knowing that the subdermal implants throughout her body were designed to be undetectable by Crack's technology. Earth intelligence had studied their scanning capabilities extensively. She is clean, the scientist finally announced, though her muscle density is unusual for a Terran female. The gravity on Mars outposts requires additional physical training, Olivia explained quickly. The scientist seemed satisfied with this answer and handed her a plain gray jumpsuit. Put this on. It is treated with pheromone suppressants. It may delay the Vorax pack's feeding response by approximately 2 minutes. The what? Olivia asked, allowing her voice to crack with fear. The Vorax. Our greatest creation and greatest disappointment, the scientist said, with what seemed like pride, mixed with regret. Apex predators engineered for warfare, but too independent for proper control. You will understand soon enough. Once she was dressed, Commander Zev Thrak returned. Is she ready? Yes, Commander, though I still believe this subject could provide valuable research data if— Your concerns are noted, Dr. Velsak, Zev Thrak cut him off. But discipline must be maintained among the prisoners. They led Olivia through a series of security checkpoints, each more heavily guarded than the last. At the final door, a massive airlock with warning symbols etched into the metal, Zev Thrak dismissed the guards. I will handle this personally, he told them. When they were alone, he turned to Olivia, studying her with those black, emotionless eyes. It is curious, he said finally. Most humans beg for mercy at this point. You seem resigned. Olivia let her shoulders slump, keeping her eyes downcast. What good would begging do? Zev Thrak made a sound that might have been a laugh. None whatsoever. The Vorax have not been fed in 3 days. They will tear you apart within minutes. But know this, human. Your death will serve the Empire by showing others the price of defiance. He activated the airlock. The outer door slid open with a hiss of pressurized air. Without waiting for her to move, he shoved her roughly inside. Enjoy your final moments, Terran, were his parting words as the door sealed behind her. The biodome stretched out before Olivia, an alien landscape carefully designed to mimic the natural habitat of the Vorax. Rocky outcroppings surrounded areas of dense vegetation, with shallow pools of murky water scattered throughout. The air was warmer than the station, with higher humidity that immediately caused sweat to bead on her skin. For several minutes, Olivia remained completely still, using all her enhanced senses to survey her surroundings. Her eyes, modified to see further into the infrared spectrum than a normal human's, detected movement in the shadows about 200 yards away. Slowly, deliberately, She moved to a defensible position, a small cluster of rocks with a clear view in all directions. There she crouched, waiting. It didn't take long. The first Vorax emerged from the undergrowth, its midnight blue fur making it nearly invisible in the shadows. Standing on powerful hind legs, it was at least 7 feet tall, with a lean, muscular body built for speed and strength. Its elongated snout contained rows of teeth that could tear through metal, and its 6-fingered hands ended in curved claws. The creature sniffed the air, detecting her scent despite the pheromone suppressants in her clothing. It let out a low growl that was answered by others still hidden in the vegetation. Olivia knew she was surrounded. The Vorax were not just apex predators, they were tactical hunters that worked in coordinated packs. Exactly as her briefing had described. As 3 more Vorax emerged from different directions, slowly closing in on her position, Olivia reached up to the back of her neck. Her fingers found the small bump beneath her skin, a neurotransmitter control node implanted years ago when she joined the Alpha program. With practiced precision, she pressed the exact sequence that would release a carefully calibrated cocktail of hormones and neural enhancers into her system. Within seconds, her perception sharpened. Time seemed to slow as her reaction speed doubled. The real Olivia Summers, Agent Alpha 117, was now fully online. As the largest Vorax leaped toward her, covering 20 feet in a single bound, Olivia moved with inhuman speed. Instead of dodging, she stepped directly toward the creature, ducking under its outstretched claws and delivering a precise strike to a nerve cluster beneath its jaw. The Vorax crashed to the ground, temporarily paralyzed but not seriously harmed, exactly as she had been trained to do. The other Vorax halted their advance, clearly confused by what they had just witnessed. Their pack member, easily 3 times the size of this small human female, had been disabled in less than a second. Taking advantage of their hesitation, Olivia stood tall and made the specific series of gestures and sounds that Earth intelligence had developed based on years of studying Vorax communication patterns. "I am not prey," she said in their language of growls and body movements. "I am not enemy. I seek the pack leader." The Vorax exchanged looks of clear confusion. Never had they encountered a human who could speak their language or fight like one of their own. From behind the others, a larger shape emerged. This Vorax was different, covered in scars, with one eye clouded white and patches of fur missing from old battles. The pack alpha, obviously. As it approached, Olivia stood her ground, maintaining eye contact but keeping her posture non-threatening according to Vorax customs. The alpha stopped just feet away, towering over her. It leaned down, sniffing her, carefully, then made a sound no human had ever heard from a Vorax before. It was asking a question. "What are you?" Olivia held the gaze of the scarred Vorax alpha. The massive creature's remaining good eye studied her with clear intelligence. "I am a friend," Olivia replied in the Vorax language, using a combination of low growls and precise hand movements. "I am not Krax." The alpha circled her slowly, its powerful muscles rippling beneath midnight blue fur. The other pack members remained still, watching. The one she had temporarily paralyzed was beginning to regain movement in its limbs. "Humans cannot speak," the alpha growled. "Humans are prey." "I am human," Olivia confirmed. "But I am different. I was made to understand your kind." This wasn't entirely true, but it was close enough. The Alpha program had studied the Vorax extensively. Earth's intelligence services had recognized years ago that these creatures were victims of Krak's genetic engineering, just as humans were victims of Krak's aggression. Potential allies, not enemies. The Alpha made a sound that might have been laughter. "Made? Like we were made by the Scaled Ones?" "Yes," Olivia said, "but for different reasons." With careful movements, she lowered herself to a sitting position on a nearby rock, showing trust. It was a calculated risk, but her enhanced senses and reflexes would give her enough warning to move if the Alpha attacked. "I know your story," she continued. "The Kraks created your species to fight in their war against the Seltari. But you were too intelligent, too independent. You refused to be slaves. So they imprisoned you here. The Alpha's ears flattened against its head. How do you know this? My people study. We learn. We prepare. Olivia tapped her temple. We know the cracks better than they think we do. The paralyzed Vorax had fully recovered now and slowly approached, sniffing the air around Olivia with obvious confusion. You smell different, it growled. Not like other humans. Because I was changed, Olivia explained. Made stronger, faster, like you were. The Alpha sat back on its haunches, bringing its face level with Olivia's. Up close she could see the intelligence in its eyes, and the years of rage and pain. Why are you here, changed human? The Alpha asked. The cracks put me here to die, Olivia said truthfully. But I came to their station for a different reason. I need information that will help protect my world from them. And perhaps, help your kind as well. In the control room overlooking the biodome, Commander Zevthrak stared at the monitors in disbelief. The human female wasn't just alive, she appeared to be communicating with the Vorax pack. Impossible, he hissed, his tail lashing back and forth in agitation. The Vorax tear apart everything we put in their enclosure. Dr. Velsak, the crack scientist, leaned closer to the screen, his eyes wide with scientific curiosity. Look at the pack's body language. They're treating her as if she were one of them. Explain this, Zevthrak demanded. I cannot, Velsak admitted. Nothing in our research suggests the Vorax would accept another species. They were engineered specifically to be hostile to all non-Vorax life forms. Zevthrak's scales darkened with anger. Then something is wrong with this human. Scan her again. Use the deep tissue scanners. The scientist adjusted the sensors focused on the biodome, running a more intensive scan of Olivia. Commander, he said after several moments, his voice tight with excitement. I'm detecting unusual neural activity and several foreign objects embedded beneath her skin. They appear to be some kind of technological implants. Implants? Zevthrak moved closer. Show me. The screen displayed a skeletal image of Olivia with dozens of tiny dots highlighted throughout her body, along her spine, at the base of her skull, in her major muscle groups. This is not standard for humans, Velsak confirmed. I believe we may have captured something special. Zevthrak hissed slowly. Special enough to be valuable to High Command. Prepare the extraction team. I want her removed from the biodome. Immediately, alive and intact. Inside the biodome, Olivia had spent hours gaining the trust of the Vorax pack. She had demonstrated her enhanced abilities by matching one of the younger pack members in a climbing contest up a sheer rock face. She had shared her knowledge of their biology and history, proving she understood them in ways no other human could. Now she sat in a natural cave formation with the Alpha, whom she had learned was called Razor Claw in the Cracks records, but whose real name in Vorax language translated roughly to Seas Beyond Darkness. Your prison has many watching eyes, Olivia said, gesturing subtly toward one of the hidden cameras she had spotted. The Cracks are always watching. Seas Beyond Darkness growled softly. We know. We have destroyed many of their eyes, but they always make new ones. They will come for me soon, Olivia said. They will have seen that I am not what they thought. Then, we will kill them, the Alpha stated simply. Olivia shook her head. No. If they die, more will come with stronger weapons. They might destroy the whole pack in revenge. She leaned closer. I have a different plan, one that could free all of you. The Alpha's ears perked up at this. Free? There is no freedom from this place. The walls are strong. The air doors cannot be broken. Not by strength alone, Olivia agreed. But there are other ways, she explained, her plan in simple terms. The Vorax were intelligent but unfamiliar with technology. She told them about the access points she had identified, the way the station's security systems worked, and most importantly, the backdoor codes Earth intelligence had obtained from their Celtari allies. When they come for me, they will bring weapons that stun but do not kill. They want me alive now, she explained. We can use that. Make them think you are trying to protect me. Attack, but do not kill. Draw them deeper into your territory where their numbers work against them. Seas beyond darkness bared his teeth in what might have been a smile. A hunt. We understand hunting. Yes. A hunt where the prey thinks they are the hunters. Olivia nodded. And while they are distracted, I will reach their control panel by the main air door. A sudden alarm blared throughout the biodome. Red lights flashed along the distant walls. The extraction team was coming. They arrived sooner than expected, Olivia said, rising to her feet. Are you ready? The Alpha stood, towering over her, and called to the rest of the pack with a series of barks and growls. 12 Vorax emerged from various hiding places, their powerful bodies tense with anticipation. We are ready, changed human, Seas Beyond Darkness declared. If you free us, the pack is yours to command. Olivia placed her hand on the massive creature's arm, a gesture of alliance. I don't want to command you. I want to fight alongside you, against those who would make slaves of us both. The main airlock door began to cycle open. Beyond it, Olivia could see the shapes of heavily armed crack soldiers preparing to enter. Remember, she said quickly, make it look real but try not to kill them. Draw them to the far pools where the ground is soft and their movements will be slowed. The Alpha nodded once before melting away into the shadows with the rest of the pack. Olivia took a deep breath and moved to a visible position on a rocky outcropping. She needed to be seen, to be the target they focused on. The airlock door fully opened, and 8 crack soldiers entered in formation, each carrying stun weapons and restraints. Behind them stood Commander Zev Thrak and Dr. Velsak. Capture the human alive, Zev Thrak ordered. Kill any Vorax that interferes. Olivia pretended to run, making her movements deliberate and easy to track. The soldiers followed, just as she had hoped. From the corner of her eye, she saw shadows moving parallel to her path, the Vorax pack staying hidden but keeping pace. As the soldiers pursued her toward the far side of the biodome, she activated her subdermal implant, sending a short burst, transmission that would be undetectable to crack scanners. The message was simple: 3 pulses. The signal to her extraction team orbiting the station that Phase 3 was beginning. Now the real challenge would start. She had 12 hours to take control of the security systems, free the Vorax pack, and make her way to the rendezvous point. 12 hours to turn the Cracks' deadliest weapons against them. As the first Vorax leaped from hiding to engage the soldiers, Olivia allowed herself a small smile. The Cracks had made a serious mistake. They thought they were tossing a helpless medic to the wolves. Instead, they had introduced a wolf in sheep's clothing to her own kind. Chaos erupted in the biodome as the Vorax pack launched their coordinated attack. Though careful not to kill, they were terrifying in their efficiency. 2 Vorax dropped from overhead branches onto the rear guards, pinning them to the ground. Another 3 burst from the undergrowth, cutting off the forward soldiers from their commander. Olivia used the distraction to circle back toward the entrance. The control panel she needed was mounted beside the main airlock, partially hidden behind a protective cover. If her intelligence was correct, that panel contained a direct line to the station's main security grid. The human is escaping, shouted one of the crack soldiers, spotting her movement. Commander Zevthrak raised his weapon, but Dr. Velsak grabbed his arm. No, you might damage the implants, the scientist warned. Their momentary disagreement gave Olivia the seconds she needed. With a burst of enhanced speed, she sprinted to the panel and tore off the protective cover. The complex alien circuitry lay exposed. Stop her! Zevthrak roared, but the Vorax were making that impossible. Seas Beyond Darkness himself had engaged. The commander, not attacking directly but constantly circling, feinting, and drawing the cracks deeper into the biodome. Olivia's fingers moved with practiced precision across the alien controls. Her neural implants contained detailed schematics of Crack's technology, downloaded directly into her memory during her mission briefing. She found the primary data node and pressed her palm against it, activating the microscopic transmitter embedded in her skin. A series of rapid pulses sent the Celtari backdoor codes directly into the system. The panel lights flickered, then changed from red to green. I'm in, she whispered to herself. From this access point, she could now control all the doors in the containment sector. But first, she needed to deal with the extraction team. Tapping into the biodome's environmental controls, she reduced the lighting to minimal levels. The Vorax, with their superior night vision, would have the advantage now. Then she triggered the emergency sprinkler system, turning the ground muddy and slippery, perfect for the padded feet of the Vorax, terrible for the clawed feet of the EU. Cracks. As the soldiers struggled in the suddenly dark and wet environment, Olivia hacked deeper into the station's systems. She found what she was looking for, the prisoner manifest. Scrolling quickly through the data, she located Peter Collins and the other human captives. They were being held in Block D, not far from her current position. A sudden blaster shot sizzled past her head, scorching the wall beside the control panel. One of the crack soldiers had broken free from the Vorax and was charging toward her, weapon raised. Before Olivia could move, a blur of midnight blue fur intercepted the soldier. A younger Vorax she recognized from earlier tackled the cracks to the ground. They rolled in the mud. The Vorax's jaws clamped around the soldier's weapon arm, but not breaking skin, just as she had instructed. "Thank you," Olivia called out to the creature, who grunted in acknowledgement before dragging the struggling soldier back toward the main fight. Turning back to the panel, Olivia programmed a system-wide security protocol override. If it worked, every door in the containment sector would unlock simultaneously, but she needed a distraction to ensure they could move through the station without immediate resistance. Searching through the station schematics, she found the perfect solution. The habitat next to the Vorax biodome contained a species called the Groll, massive, peaceful herbivores that the cracks had captured for zoological study. With a few commands, she opened the connecting airlocks between the two habitats. "Seas beyond darkness," she called out. "Bring the pack, we're leaving now." The Alpha Vorax heard her call. With a series of barks, he directed the pack to disengage and fall back toward the airlock. The crack soldiers, muddy and disoriented but largely unharmed, tried to regroup. Commander Zevthrak wiped mud from his scales, his eyes burning with rage. "Seal all exits," he shouted into his communication device. "This is a direct order." But nothing happened. The system wasn't responding to his commands anymore. As the Vorax pack gathered around her at the airlock, Olivia pressed the final sequence into the control panel. All doors in the containment sector slid open simultaneously, including the massive doors to the Groll habitat. The gentle giants, startled by their sudden freedom, stampeded into the corridors of the station. Alarms blared throughout Nexus Station. The voice of the central computer announced, "Security breach in containment sectors. All personnel evacuate to safety zones." "Now we move," Olivia told the Vorax pack. "Stay close. Follow me." She led them through the now open airlock and into the main corridor of the station. The scene beyond was one of perfect confusion. Station personnel ran in all directions trying to avoid the wandering Groll. Security forces were spread thin, trying to contain multiple breaches at once. "The human prisoners are this way," Olivia directed, pointing down a side corridor marked with alien symbols. She had memorized the station layout during her mission briefing. As they moved through the chaos, Olivia kept one eye on her internal chronometer. 10 hours remaining until her extraction team would arrive. She needed to free the human prisoners, find the data core containing the cracks' battle plans, and get to the rendezvous point before then. They encountered minimal resistance as they made their way to Block D. Most of the security forces had been deployed to deal with the escaped Groll and other freed alien species. The few cracks guards they did encounter took one look at the pack of Vorax and ran in the opposite direction. When they reached the human containment area, Olivia found the outer doors already open thanks to her system-wide override. Inside, confused, prisoners were cautiously exploring their newfound freedom. "Olivia?" Peter Collins pushed through the crowd, his eyes widening at the sight of her standing among the Vorax. "How are you still alive? And what are these creatures doing with you?" "Long story," Olivia replied. "The short version is, they're friends, and we're escaping. All of us." The other humans looked terrified at the sight of the Vorax pack, but Peter's trust in Olivia helped calm them. "We need to move quickly," she continued, addressing all the prisoners. "There's a transport bay on level 3 that connects to the commercial docking ports. Security will be focused on the containment levels. If we can reach the transport bay, we can steal a ship. But none of us know how to fly a Krax vessel, one of the prisoners pointed out. Olivia smiled slightly. I do. As she organized the freed humans into groups, a station-wide broadcast echoed through the corridors. It was Commander Zevthrak's voice filled with cold fury. Attention all security forces. The human female from the Vorax habitat is not what she appears to be. She is a trained infiltrator and must be captured or terminated immediately. Priority override on all other containment breaches. Find her. Peter looked at Olivia with new understanding. You're not really a medic, are you? I am a medic, she replied honestly. Just not only a medic. Seas Beyond Darkness moved to Olivia's side, his massive form dwarfing her. The Scaled Leader knows your true nature now. He will hunt you specifically. Good, Olivia said. That's exactly what I want him to do. She reached into a small pocket hidden in the seam of her jumpsuit and removed what looked like a tiny silver bead. This is a quantum transponder, she explained to the Alpha. If Commander Zevthrak captures me, I need you to make sure this reaches the transport bay on level 3. My extraction team will home in on its signal. The Alpha took the tiny device carefully between two clawed fingers. You expect to be captured? I expect to get the data core from the command center, Olivia corrected, and that might require creating another distraction. She turned to address the humans and Vorax together. We split into 2 groups. Peter will lead the humans to the transport bay with half the Vorax pack for protection. Seas Beyond Darkness, you and your best fighters come with me to the command center. We meet at the transport bay in 2 hours. What she didn't tell them was that reaching the command center would likely be a one-way journey. But the data core was too valuable to leave behind. It contained the complete Krax battle plans. For their planned invasion of Earth, some missions required sacrifice. She had always known that when she joined the Alpha program. As the group separated, Peter caught her arm. Be careful, he said, and thank you. Olivia nodded. See you at the transport bay. With Seas Beyond Darkness and 5 other Vorax at her side, she moved deeper into the station, toward the heavily guarded command center where Commander Zevthrak would surely be waiting. The hunt was on, but this time, she was the hunter. The command center of Nexus Station was protected by 3 security checkpoints, each more heavily guarded than the last. Olivia and her small group of Vorax warriors hid in a maintenance corridor, watching the movements of the Krax guards at the first checkpoint. There are too many, growled Seas Beyond Darkness. A direct attack would fail. We don't need to fight them all, Olivia replied. We just need them to chase us away from here. She pointed to a nearby environmental control panel. Can you tear that open for me? The Alpha Vorax extended his claws and ripped through the metal covering as easily as tearing paper. Olivia reached inside and quickly rewired several connections. Warning lights began flashing throughout the corridor. Fire alert in Section 7, announced the station's computer. All personnel evacuate immediately. Most of the guards abandoned their posts, rushing toward the false alarm. Only 2 remained, at the checkpoint. Now we go, Olivia whispered. Using her enhanced speed, she sprinted toward the remaining guards. Before they could react, she had disabled one with a precise strike to the throat. Seas Beyond Darkness took down the second guard with equal efficiency. They passed through the first checkpoint and approached the second. This one had an electronic lock requiring command-level authorization. Stand back, Olivia told the Vorax. She removed a small device from her hidden pocket and placed it against the locking mechanism. The device emitted a series of coded pulses, mimicking Commander Zevthrak's access signature. The door slid open. The second checkpoint was empty. All guards had responded to the false fire alarm. They moved through quickly and approached the final barrier, a massive door made of reinforced metal. This one will be harder, Olivia admitted. It has biological scanners. It needs Zevthrak himself to open it. Seas Beyond Darkness sniffed the air. The Scaled Leader has been here recently. His scent is strong. Olivia nodded. He's inside, probably with his most trusted guards. She studied the door for a moment, then turned to the Vorax. I need you and your pack to create a distraction at the far end of this corridor. Make it loud. Draw as many guards out as possible." The Alpha nodded and led his warriors away. Moments later, Olivia heard crashes and roars as the Vorax began destroying equipment and making as much noise as possible. The plan worked. The command center door slid open, and 6 Crax guards rushed out toward the commotion. Olivia flattened herself against the wall in a shadowed alcove, using her training to remain perfectly still and nearly invisible. When the last guard passed, she slipped through the door before it closed. Inside the command center, only Commander Zevthrak and 2 technicians remained, their attention focused on monitoring screens showing the chaos throughout the station. "Find that human," Zevthrak was shouting. "I want her alive." "Looking for me?" Olivia asked calmly. The Crax commander spun around, his scales darkening with rage. The technicians reached for weapons, but Olivia was faster. 2 precise throws sent small metal discs flying across the room, attaching to the technicians' necks and delivering a paralyzing electrical charge. Now only Zevthrak remained. The commander drew his ceremonial blade, a wicked curved weapon nearly as long as Olivia's arm. "I should have killed you when I first saw you," he hissed. "A mistake I will now correct." "Many have tried," Olivia replied, shifting into a combat stance. "All have failed." Zevthrak lunged forward with surprising speed for his size. Olivia ducked under his swing and delivered a hard kick to his knee. The Crax commander grunted in pain but didn't fall. He was stronger than she had anticipated. Even with her enhancements, she would need to be careful. They circled each other in the center of the command room. Zevthrak's tail whipped back and, forth his claws extended. "What are you?" he demanded. "No normal human moves like you do." "I am humanity's answer to extinction," Olivia replied, using the same words from her mission briefing. "We will not go quietly into the night." Zevthrak attacked again, this time feinting left before striking right. His blade caught Olivia's sleeve, slicing through the fabric and drawing a thin line of blood on her arm. She ignored the pain and countered with a series of rapid strikes to his throat and eyes. The Crax commander backed away, hissing in fury. "Your species is doomed," he snarled. "Our invasion fleet is already gathering. Earth will fall within the month." "Not if I have anything to say about it," Olivia replied. She spotted what she was looking for behind him, a glowing cube set into a pedestal. The data core containing the Crax battle plans. She needed to get past Zevthrak to reach it. The commander saw her glance. "You will never leave this room alive," he promised. Olivia activated her final neural enhancement, pushing her body beyond safe limits. Time seemed to slow to a crawl as her perception and reflexes doubled again. She moved toward Zevthrak in a blur, ducking under his blade and striking upward with the edge of her hand against his jaw. The blow would have knocked out a human, but merely staggered the Crax commander. Before he could recover, she spun behind him, grabbed his arm, and used his own momentum to throw him against the wall. The impact was hard enough to crack the metal plating. Zevthrak slumped to the floor, dazed but still conscious. Olivia quickly moved to the data core and removed it from its pedestal. The small cube felt warm in her hand, pulsing with stored information. Alarms immediately began blaring. "Data core removed," announced the computer. "Security breach in progress." Olivia knew she had only minutes before the room would be swarming with guards. She turned to leave, but found Zevthrak blocking her path, bleeding from a wound on his head but still dangerous. "You may have the data," he growled, "but you will die here." Outside, Olivia could hear the sounds of fighting. The Vorax were engaged with Crax guards, buying her time. She couldn't waste it. "I don't have time for this," she said, and through one of her remaining paralytic discs, Zevthrak batted it away with surprising reflexes. "Your tricks won't work on me, human." Olivia changed tactics. She lunged forward as if to attack, then, at the last moment, dropped and slid between his legs. Before he could turn, she was up and running for the door. The Crax commander roared in fury and gave chase, but Olivia had the advantage of speed. She burst through the command center door to find seas beyond darkness and one remaining Vorax surrounded by the bodies of Crax guards. "Run!" she shouted, holding up the data core. "Mission complete." They sprinted through the corridors of Nexus Station, alarms blaring all around them. Behind them, they could hear Zevthrak shouting orders to his remaining forces. All units converge. On Transport Bay 3, do not let them escape. They reached a junction where the corridor split in 3 directions. The transport bay is that way. Olivia pointed right. You two go ahead. I'll lead them in another direction and join you later. Seas Beyond Darkness growled in disagreement. We stay together. No, Olivia insisted. The data must reach Earth. Take this. She handed the data core to the Alpha. Get this to Peter and the others. If I don't make it, make sure this leaves the station. The Alpha took the cube carefully. You plan to die here? I plan to complete my mission, Olivia corrected. Now go. With obvious reluctance, Seas Beyond Darkness and his companion turned and ran toward the transport bay. Olivia went left, making sure the pursuing guards saw her. The human went this way, she heard them shout behind her. Olivia ran through the twisting corridors of the station, leading the Cracks guards on a chase that took them far from the transport bay. When she had put enough distance between herself and her friends, she found a maintenance shaft and climbed inside. Moving through the narrow passages, she made her way toward the transport bay by a different route. Her internal chronometer told her that the extraction team would arrive in less than 30 minutes. When she finally reached the transport bay, she found a scene of controlled chaos. Peter and the other humans had secured a Cracks transport vessel. The Vorax pack was holding off the remaining guards at the entrance. Seas Beyond Darkness spotted her and barked an order. 2 Vorax broke off from the fighting to escort her to the ship. You made it, Peter exclaimed as she boarded. We were about to leave without you. Did you get the data core? Olivia asked. Yes, it's secure. But we have a problem. None of us can fly this thing. Olivia moved to the control panel, her neural implants recognizing the Cracks technology. I can. As she powered up the ship's engines, the bay doors began to close, an attempt by station security to trap them inside. Hold on, Olivia warned as she pushed the engines to maximum. The transport shot forward, barely squeezing through the narrowing gap of the bay doors. They burst into open space just as a small, sleek vessel appeared from behind Nexus Station's shadow. It flashed a series of lights in a pattern Olivia recognized. That's our ride, she told the others. My extraction team. As the 2 ships docked in space, Olivia looked back at Nexus Station growing smaller in the distance. Commander Zevthrak had unknowingly given Earth its best chance at survival by throwing a simple medic into a cell with what he thought were mindless beasts. The Cracks would soon learn that humans were far more than they appeared to be, and that making allies was always better than making enemies. Ready to go home? Asked the extraction team leader as Olivia brought the last of the Vorax aboard the Earth vessel. She nodded, feeling the weight of the data core in her hands, the key to saving her.